If you are a graphic design business owner or a business owner in general, you know what it feels like to wear a million hats in your business and to feel a little bit overwhelmed all the time. But in this video, I want to specifically talk about the client experience and overall making sure you have a good customer service system set in place, because oftentimes we can get so distracted with social media, making sure our marketing plan is good, making sure our website's up to date, make sure we're actually doing the service. And a lot of times we forget about the customer service. And that is truly one of the most important things to make sure that you have really nailed down. So in this video, I'll be sharing 5 tips on how to make sure that your clients are extremely happy. Don't get me wrong, not every client is a good fit, and that is something I've really had to accept over the years. I've worked with many clients, probably hundreds at this point, and for the most part, all these client experiences have been amazing on both sides, but there have been a few clients in the past that just aren't a good fit, and that could be due to a lot of different reasons. I'll be going over some of those reasons today, but one of the most common reasons that I find a client might not be happy is because they truly weren't ready to start. Maybe they just don't know what they want and they jumped into it too soon. They're not really sure how to guide you and collaborate with you to make sure they're happy with the end results. Let's jump into my tips so you can make sure that your clients feel valued, that they feel that they can trust you, and that they'll want to refer you to other clients, which would be amazing. First things first, I know as graphic designers, you know how important it is to have a solid brand and website. I cannot stress this enough to any business owner. It's so important to make sure that your online storefront or your online website, which should be considered your storefront because that's where people are deciding whether or not they want to reach out to you and work with you. You want to make sure that is consistent looking, it's really clear on who you are, that the copy on the website really reflects your voice, that the photos showcase who you are, that your portfolio shows your most recent work. You want to make sure that your website is ready for any client to potentially come across. I cannot tell you guys how many times I have had clients reach out to me because they liked my personal website. So I know firsthand how important this is and how it can really help you gain those connections and showcase the kind of design style that you like to provide. That's why I like to make my website really match the overall design style that I want to do for my clients, which is more minimal, more like vintage based. I really want to make sure I'm showcasing that on my website. Which brings me to my other point within this first point, is that you want to make sure that your portfolio pieces are pieces that you're actually excited and happy about. I would never want to put a piece of work up on my website if it's not a piece of work I'd ever want to create again. So definitely keep that in mind because you're probably going to continue attracting clients within those industries. So make sure that you're showcasing the industries that you want to work with. Set expectations. I cannot stress how important this one is. It's so important because you want to make sure that your clients know when your timeline is, how much it's going to cost. Have everything so clear and to the point in the very beginning. That is going to gain so much respect with you and the client. They're going to be able to trust you with what you're saying. And I've learned this the wrong way, you guys. I have definitely made the mistake in the past of telling clients, oh, this will take like 2 weeks. This will take like 3 weeks. And then all of a sudden we're on our 5th week and I'm like, well, shoot, I should have definitely not said that because now I feel like I'm stressed. I feel guilty for saying that initial timeline. So definitely set your expectations with your clients. Make sure they know exactly what they're going to be getting within the package as well. So when you do give them that pricing and you send over the proposal and everything, make sure everything is super clear with what they'll be receiving. And a little side note here, if you really want to impress your clients, you can always have a little bit less on the proposal in terms of like the line items and then send a little more and you'll have a happy client. So definitely set the expectations on with your clients with when you're going to be working on it, the price, when to expect everything. And this also goes into like a client experience and making sure that they have like a timeline to follow and how they can reach out to you, all the things that the client probably wants to know. just make sure that they know that so they're not waiting around wondering. Definitely set those expectations, and that alone will make your clients really happy. In the point of setting your expectations, you can also send over an initial client email, or like I said, a portal where they can see all the client communication, all the forms, all the things that you need from them, how they'll be receiving all of their information. And when I send over, for example, my client logos, I like to have in bold fonts on that email, this is where you can provide feedback. Right below that, I'm like, this is where you can contact me if you'd rather get on a call. So I like to just make it really clear and set that expectation of how they can communicate with me. The third point that I have is something that takes a lot of practice, but super, super important to do, is to under promise and over deliver. I'm sure you've heard this in business. It's really important, and I didn't really understand the importance of it until more recently. This is actually probably one of my weaknesses. When I am talking to a client, I am like, yes, 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 let's do it all. Let's do everything. I want to help you. I want to work with you. But I've had to learn that I don't want to promise something that I feel like I'd be stressed fulfilling. So I've had to sit down with myself or at least address this with myself. When it comes to the client communication, I want to make sure that I am not saying yes right away. And if you have to think about something, if a client comes to you and is like, hey, can you design this for me as well? Can we add this on? If you're a little unsure if you can even do it, or if you have time to do it, if you feel like it's completely outside and would require a new contract, you can always tell your client, can I get back to you tomorrow about that? I just need to check a few things. That's totally okay. And I would rather you take some time to think about it than to just say yes and then be like, well, shoot, now I'm extremely stressed, overwhelmed, and I feel like I should have been getting paid for this. Definitely make sure that you are saying yes to the right things. And the best part about that is if you do say no, or if you say let me think about it, and then you over deliver, you will have an extremely happy client, other than a frustrated client if you never deliver what you're promising. So keep that in mind. That is a huge, huge skill that I've had to learn. And I've noticed that this past year especially has been the first year where I have been really good about that and haven't been saying yes to everything and anything that lands on my plate. I really like to think about it. I have been way more comfortable telling clients hey, this is technically outside of our contract. Can we start this after? Can I add on a few hours of work for this? I've had to learn how to communicate that and communicate it comfortably. But a good client and a really respectful client will understand exactly where you're coming from. And the best part about it is I feel like we're working with a lot of business owners, so they know what it's like to run a business. So don't be afraid to take some time to think about things, under promise, and then over deliver. That can even be at the end of the project, sending them a gift or sending them something to let them know that you're thinking about them. Could be as simple as that, but those little things will really make the clients super just feel so valued. So definitely under promise, over deliver to make your clients feel really special. When you think about it, and I've had to really think about this also recently, because I have invested in my business, I've outsourced work, I've hired people, and as I was doing that, I realized how valuable our earnings are, and I don't view my clients paying me $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. I don't view that as just a transaction or another payment. When I get a client locked into my calendar, I view them as part of my circle, part of a connection I've made in my life, and I want to make sure that I am giving them everything they've wanted and dreamed of, that they can use for years and years and years, that will give them all the clients, all the success, all the things that they want to achieve just through a simple connection and creating the overall visual aesthetic of their business. So as you can see, it's not just a transaction for me. And I think a lot of times, especially lately, and I don't know if it's just because of the way the world is right now, but I've noticed even in just other services that I've received, it feels almost like just a transaction, and that there's not a whole lot of thought and care going into the experience and going into valuing me as a customer. So I challenge you guys to think about that, like in your everyday life, like when you go get your hair done, when you go get your nails done, when you go to the store or a restaurant or whatever it is, think about the client experience that they're putting into it, whether it's good or bad. Just being aware of that and applying that to your own business, and knowing that showing up and being thoughtful, being there for them if they want to communicate on your schedule, but that wasn't part of the plan, on your phases, like let that happen. If they want to talk to you, if they're investing in you, then I think you have to be kind of open to that. And also, like, you still have your boundaries, you can still have your set times to talk and stuff, but I do feel like once I started, and I feel like I've never really viewed any service just as a transaction. I am almost to a fault too much of a people pleaser, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are too as service providers. When you're a people pleaser, it's hard to feel like you're not, like you're doing enough. Like I always feel like I could be doing more for them and more for them and more for them. And once I really kind of figured out how I can make my clients feel special, I was able to feel really satisfied at the end of the project and not feel like there was still some things left to do. So for me lately, when we finish with their project, I do send them a type form, which allows them to provide me feedback, which allows them to ask any other questions that they might have, and kind of like have some closure to the project. But I also recently this year, I've been collecting their addresses and also asking them what their favorite beverages or like water or coffee or anything like that, because I have this idea at the end of the year to buy just like some really kind of thoughtful like water bottle, nice glass water bottle or something on Amazon. And my sister has a Cricut sticker machine, and I thought it'd be really cool to like print out their logos or their elements or something like that and send them a thoughtful gift at the end of the year. And I think that alone is just like a super thoughtful thing that they will remember, and they will want to talk about the experience they had with you. And I'm not saying you have to go give a bunch of people gifts, but I thought about that, and I was like, I actually probably would really enjoy putting that together. And I know if I received something with my logo on it, I would be so excited to use it. So yeah, just little things like that to make your client feel special. Those little things can go a really long way, and definitely don't overlook it. Don't just view it as a transaction, view it as a connection, view it as your friend, view it as like someone that you can really talk to and you want them to trust you too. So gain that connection and make them feel special, make them feel cared about. And yeah, like I said, I challenge you to start thinking about that when you go out in public and you start getting services. But I really regret not following up with more of the clients I had in the past, because those clients decided to work with you in the beginning for a reason, and they'd probably be willing to potentially work with you in the future as well. So what I like to do now is, once we launch the website, once I send the brand guide, and this is actually something I have set up in Dubsado, but 2 weeks after that, I like to send them a follow-up email and just see how things are going. I like to just check in with them, make sure that they have everything they need, that they were able to download all their logo files, that they feel good to go with everything. Because when I check in, it kind of allows them to potentially ask any other questions or add on any other services they need in the future. And also it just makes them feel thought about again. And I really truly do think about it when like 2 weeks go by. I'm like, I wonder if they're using their branding. I wonder if they got their logo up on the building or whatever. And I do think about it. So whenever you find yourself thinking about it, just send them a little note and just let them know you're thinking about them and you're wondering how everything's going and if they need anything else from you. I always want to say this, do not look past the clients you've had. If you feel like you're not getting a lot of new clients, do not look past the ones that you've already worked with, because they can turn in to more projects or more referrals and things like that. So that is something I've really been paying attention to doing, is just making sure my clients know I'm thinking about them and that I'm here for them and I'm willing to serve them again if they need any help. So definitely remember that as well. So overall, you want to make sure your clients feel respected, that they feel valued, that they feel like you did everything in your power to make them happy, and that overall they feel like they gained a connection with an awesome business owner. You want to be yourself, you want to gain that connection. You want to have that like perfect balance between like friendship but also like business. Having that balance and just working with your clients on a personal level is going to help so much with making sure your clients are happy and satisfied with everything you provided. I've found that the more my clients are happy, the more excited they are, the more willing they are to talk about it online and share my name. And we really just support and lift each other up, and that's like the best duo you could ever ask for. I have a course launching in November that will talk all about my client experience and Dipsado and how I set that up to make sure that everything is automated and good to go for my clients for the experience, and also to save a little time on my plate and my schedule, and to send those reminders out automatically so I don't have to stress about following up with every single client I work with. So definitely join my email list so you don't miss that course launch, that course pre-order. I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited to talk more about client experiences with you all. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it and if it was helpful, I'd appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up and subscribe down below. And I will see you all in my next video.